What's up, YouTube? It's your favorite triathlete here, Triathlon Joe. Yeah, whatever. Anyway, I had a chance to ride on Zwift with my buddy Alex Fuller. We race on the All 3 Sports Elite team, and we talked about a bunch of things like how he's gotten so good so fast, racing on Zwift, some strategies he has, and man, he crushed it the last couple times. Guys just blowing through FTPs every time he gets on the bike. And a bunch of other stuff. So take a listen. Let me know what you think. Hit the like button, subscribe, downvote it. I don't care. Just let me know what you think. All right. Bye. All right. Hey, everybody. I got Alex Fuller with me. We're about to do the Watopia Figure 8, the one that he rode last Saturday in the Datter race. And how'd you finish, Alex?
I got 5th overall.
Nice, dude.
Yeah. So, good enough for a trophy at the Ironman race. How about that?
Now, is that your best finish in an A race yet?
I got, let's see. I think I've gotten first or second once or twice on smaller races, but as far as like a big A race, yeah, that was my best so far.
What's your setup?
Oh man, so I got a Wahoo kicker. That was a game changer. I was just on like a dumb trainer a couple years ago, so I got the Wahoo kicker, and then I just have a really old school specialized all-day, aluminum bike that I got off Craigslist for $400. So I don't have to worry about sweating it out or anything. So it serves me well.
Now, what bike do you race on in the real world?
Really, so I don't really race road bikes, but I have a Cervelo P3 I do my triathlon races on.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
But that's the 2011 Cervelo P3 that I got off of Craigslist as well. I had a little carbon damage, so I got the frame for $100, and then did about $400 of carbon repair, and then bought the group set, and I got my racing machine for maybe like $1,000. It was awesome.
Wow, that's insane, man. You're kind of like me. The bike I raced with for last 4 years, the P4, I got it on closeout for like $800.
So I mean, I'll probably upgrade this year, but I mean, it's gotten me pretty good, So
yeah,
I've been happy.
Now, you did Ironman Florida? What was your time on the bike?
Just under 5 hours. I think it was like 4:55 or something like that.
Wow.
I wanted it. My goal was 4:45, and so I was about 10 watts under my goal for like average power. Plus, it was cold, so I had all these jackets on and stuff. So. Yeah, see, goal is to maybe drop 10, 15 minutes off of that time for the next Ironman.
I'll tell you what, so that just tells me sometimes it's more the motor than the bike.
I mean, it's a good bike. I mean, it is old. It's going on 10 years almost. But when I talk to people, I'm like, hey, should I upgrade? They're like, nah, that's a pretty good bike. You should just stay with that for a while. So it served me well.
Are you running a disc and a deep wheel in the front?
Yes, I do a Zip 808 on the front and then a Zip disc on the back.
I got you. So how long have you been in triathlons?
So probably it's like competitively, like where I'm trying to do well, probably about 4 years. I'd say about 7 years ago, I was totally unathletic. I weighed about 70, 80 pounds more than I do right now. And I didn't think I was overweight back then, but I got a new phone where you track like your calories, how much you're eating. And so I started tracking my calories and I'm like, whoa, in order to maintain my weight, I need to eat like 4,000 calories a day. And then I was gaining weight at the time. So I'm like, maybe I should back off the food a little bit. I was cursed with a wife that's really, really good cook. So I'm like, hey, no 3 plates for dinner. Let's just stick to one. So I started losing weight. So I was losing like 1 or 2 pounds a week for about a year, 2 years. And then suddenly, like, running wasn't the worst thing in the world when I wasn't carrying an extra 50 pounds. And also my daughter, my first kid was born at the time. And so when she was, crying or whatever, and I needed a break, I would just go like on a run around the block, listen to a podcast or something. And so I lost weight, started running, kind of built up from there. That's the point where like I could run like 3 miles. I'm like, yes, mission accomplished, doing great. Work up to 5. And then I had a friend that's like, you could do a half marathon. I'm like, no, that's crazy. I don't know about that. But, he encouraged me, did a half marathon, loved it. All right, let's do the full. Then I was running every day. And so my legs were starting to get a little injured here and there. And so I got a bike off Craigslist. Actually, this one I still ride indoors. So I started cross training a little bit. And I had another friend that's like, hey, just learn how to swim. You can do a try. I'm like, all right, I can figure that out. Got in the pool and thought I was going to drown. For like first 2 months, I was going to drown every time I swam across it. So then, did my first try, loved it. Did worked up to like an Olympic. It was like a small local Olympics, but I won the Olympics. I'm like, oh, this is fun, So I'm all right, let's do the full Ironman. Did Ironman Texas 2017, and then from there I'm like, okay, this is great. I finished. Let's see if we can get faster. And so, been working on that. I got spot to 70.3 Worlds in Nice in 2019, and now the 2 to 3 year goal is to get a Kona spot. Went from totally unathletic to, let's see if we can get to Kona.
Yeah, you did Nice, but I would think your best race last year was Florida. What was your time there?
So like 9:31. So I was. Yeah, that was a very well executed. I was, I was very, very happy with that. I still need to drop about 30 minutes if I want a Kona spot at that race.
Yeah.
And I think if I did the same, a week later, assuming I wasn't run out or whatever, I learned enough that I could maybe drop 10 minutes off of that just from like learning pacing. So we'll see. My swim's getting better and my bike's getting better, so I think I got a shot at it.
I would say so, man. Well, let's switch gears real quick. Let's talk about the race. So you got the invite from Andre, Brandon? Who invited you to the race?
Brandon tagged me on Instagram and he's like, hey, let's do this. And I didn't have anything else planned, so sure, I'll give it a shot.
Okay, so how many races have you done so far?
I've probably done like 6 or 7 races and maybe 3 like really going for it. I did, and I've gotten like a new FTP 20-minute max on all 3 I've done. So I did like a Crit City race a couple months ago, and then did one of the Tour Watopia ones. Actually with Holden, who's like the #1 Zwift guy. He's in the race and he got 3rd. I got 10th. So I figured, hey, I'm not that far behind him, so we're good.
Now,
and then, this Saturday race is pretty fun.
Now, do you have a Zwift Power profile?
I do, yes. Yeah.
Okay. All right, so let's talk about Saturday's race. For people that don't know, how do you start a Zwift race? I mean, what's your strategy?
So overall strategy for the race, and I'll talk about it at the beginning especially, but kind of my strategy going in, because I had no idea. There was a couple A+ racers. I didn't know if I had a shot or not. Brandon was kind of joking, like, he just wanted to get in the top 100. So I kind of lowered my expectations a little bit. Maybe he was joking, but so really go all out for the first minute and a half to just stay with the first group. And then I was worried about getting dropped on the climb. So my strategy was go all out, stay with the front group, and then just kind of ride the draft. Every time we come to a big climb, go all out, because that's the only chance I have to stay with them. Survive the crest of the hill, and then just see how long I could stay with that front pack. And then just sprint at the end. So it's counting down at the beginning. It's 5, 4, 3. You hit 3. I'm in top gear, out of the saddle, just pushing as hard as I can. So as soon as it goes to 0, flying out.
Yeah, I talked to Andre, and he said that's one of the biggest differences between a road race and a Zwift race. It's just pretty much as fast as you can go in the beginning, pushing 400, 500, 600 watts to get with that front group, because the draft in Zwift is so important, Yeah.
Yeah, and the important thing is you don't need to hold it for that long. It's really only first 2 minutes maybe where you're really pushing it, and then, the group will kind of settle down. But if you don't make that first jump, you have no chance, because that front group's going to take off.
Were you surprised that you were able to make that front group, or you just like, oh, I know I'd be able to sit up there with those guys?
I mean, it was also kind of the chase race. So I thought, hey, the A's are going to try to work together for a while. So I wasn't, so we took off, and people were definitely pushing power at the beginning, but it wasn't. I didn't feel like it was, hey, let's try to drop a bunch of people, because it's kind of like, hey, we need this group to catch up. So I thought for at least for the first climb, I thought I could stay with them pretty well. And then it was just all, how separated we're going to get on that first climb.
And for that first climb for you, you came back a little bit. You got dropped a little bit. How far were you back from those front guys?
So yeah, on the, it was either on the climb or even like right before the climb. I think it was on a flat part almost. there was a group of 3 or 4 folks. So Andre, a couple Everyman Jack people, they kind of took off. So I was kind of in the chase group, but there was like 30, you know, maybe not 30, but good, you know, 20 of us in the chase group. And so I figured, hey, you know, if they're going to ride 15 more miles, just powering it without this big draft group, you know, power to them. I'll stick with this group, see if we can catch up. And so, you know, I definitely on that first climb, that one's not as steep. That's kind of you're coming up back of the KOM. So you're kind of a more gradual climb, you know, so it's longer. So I'm pushing, you know, 6 watts per kilo for a couple minutes trying to get up that. I don't know if I push for that long, but you know. And I stayed with that second group pretty well. And yeah, I thought that front chase group was probably gone, but but what actually happened, helped happen was they actually fell back and we all merged together.
So you rode with about 20 guys to bridge to that gap. Because I think it was about a 15-second gap from that.
Yeah. I mean, it got up to like 20 seconds at one time. Yeah, it was a decent gap.
Yeah.
I think it's, you know, at some point, I was definitely in the front some of the time. I mean, my strategy is try to, you know, not get dropped, and then you kind of like rubber band back and forth. So you're in the draft, you're pushing it, you come to the front, and honestly, I wasn't trying to make a break with the race. You know, I still wanted to work with our group. So every time I get to the front, I just drop my power. You know, I'll hold 4 or 5, but then, you know, once you get to the front and you're the one pulling, especially early in the race, I'm going to pull it back. I'm going to pull back to like 3 or something and just fall back into the group. So kind of, you know, it's what a real Peloton would kind of do, where you're just kind of rotating around. But I was doing some pulls. I know I saw some chatter that the Everyman Jack folks were yelling at Andre to take his turn on a pull, and you know, on the front group. And so I'm like, oh no, like I don't want to be a jerk either. So I'll take some turns on the second group, make sure no one yells at me. Yeah, so right here we're climbing up the first hill, and I think this one's actually harder because this is kind of the lead up to the steep part. You know, so you're only like 2-3% right here, but people are like going, you know, pretty full gas, but you're going fast enough that the drift still matters. So we were still going, you know, 25 miles an hour. So you got to stay with the group. But then you'll see as we come up here around this right turn, that's where you can really push the power in. So here, as your trainer gets more difficult, put some power in, and around this corner you hit like 8-9%. And you know, almost any race, it's like these, you know, 20 seconds right here where you can just drop people if you want, if you have the power. So right there, yeah, 11%.
I'm gonna use a little feather to keep up with.
So you're up here. So then the other hard part, you just went through that 11%, gave it everything you can to try to break away, but then you still got a hefty little dose of climbing to do. I mean, we still got 3 more minutes till we hit the top of this. So I honestly thought I'd get dropped here. And so I was kind of like, all right, if I get dropped here, I'm done with the race. So let's push it the whole time. I was able to stay with that second group.
And they just gapped you just because they were in the front of the start of the climb and you were pushing the back.
Yeah. Yeah, so I'm just sticking with them. It was really the second climb that like broke us up more. So we stayed together pretty well on this first climb. The second climb, coming back the other direction, that's where, you know, there's still 20 of us. And I knew, again, like, hey, I got to make this climb or I'm not going to make it. And so as soon as we get close to that big uphill, I just got out and just like punched it. I was hitting like 7 watts per kilo. And I did it like right even before we started going up. And so I went into that climb with a lot of power. And that's what actually helped me like pull away from everyone else and catch up with the front group. So, you know, finish this whole lap coming back around the other way, where it's a lot steeper climb. That was where, the race was really kind of decided there.
Nice.
Yeah, so here you get a nice downhill. You know, we're drafting off each other, but it's still, you know, kind of rollers, and people are trying to push the tempo the whole time. So this is kind of, I'd much rather do the short, steep climb coming up the other way than this brutal, long roller one.
How much?
But we got both of them. So. What's that?
What do you weigh on Zwift? Or how much?
I actually weighed myself right before because I wanted it to be legit. I took a video. I didn't post it on the Zwift transparency or whatever. But I weighed in at 172 pounds, and that's what I have it set to. It's funny because the day after, so Sunday, I weighed myself. I was 168. I'd lost 4 pounds from some, you know, water or whatever. But yeah, so 172. So 4 watts per kilogram. That's like 305 watts ish.
Wait, 305 is not your FTP, right? Oh, is that what you have?
No, that's just what 4 watts per kilo.
Oh, I got you.
So I averaged for the race, so just under 40 minutes, I averaged 373 watts. So FTP is like 355-ish. Of course, if I take the ramp test, it tells me my FTP is way lower, but I can hold, 370 for 20 minutes.
Yeah, well, you held 370 for 40 minutes, almost 40 minutes. So
that's true. Yeah. We'll count that. I mean, a lot of that's because you have the sprint at the beginning, you have the hills, and you have the the sprint at the end. So you're kind of dipping into that anaerobic a little bit. So that's where some coaches will be like, I don't know. You could debate FTP all day long, but in the end, it's just setting your training zones.
So coming over the top here, you were with the second group here, right?
Yeah, I will say the stroke of bad luck I had, I didn't have like any useful power ups at all. I had like a breakaway burrito, and I was with the big group of where we're all working together, so I just dumped that. I had invisibility, but again, we were kind of working together at that point, so I didn't really use that much. So right here, we're coming downhill, and like I'm pedaling. I'm maybe at like 3 watts per kilo, but this is just kind of like a recovery, enjoying the draft and getting your breath in, because there we go again, right?
I know you do a Thursday morning slow twitch ride at like 5:30 in the morning on Thursday. Is that most of your type of training, or do you race a lot, or do you mostly do free rides or workouts?
Yeah, so I actually don't do a lot of racing on Zwift. I think I'm going to do more, but almost all of my training is structured. I'm part of the Purple Patch Squad by Matt Dixon, but that's a great deal because it's not like one-on-one coaching, but it's kind of here's the program laid out, and all the kind of like a very kind of like paying for a training program, but like a lot more. So it kind of evolves with you, and you can have different race plans, whatever. So all of that, all those sessions import right into Zwift. So, most of the time I'm following just a workout on Zwift for intervals or cadence work or whatever. But I'm doing probably 10 to 12 hours on the bike during the week. I'm trying to get outside once a week at least, even though I prefer Zwift more often because it's just easier. And then getting runs and swims in, at least swims when I can.
How much are you running?
Probably 6-7 hours a week. So I don't know, anywhere from 30 to 50 miles, depending on how much is fast or slow. And
you're probably like everybody else. You're not really swimming that much right now, if any at all.
Nah, I've been hitting the bands a lot. So I do, the elastic bands in my garage. I'll do 3 or 4 sessions of that a week right now. I have a friend that has a pool in his backyard. He let me go sneak in and grab my wetsuit and do some tethered swimming. But tethered swimming is a lot harder than I thought it'd be. So just kind of, yeah, it did not jive. I mean, it's like hard to breathe and all that stuff. So just doing the band work, I think that's actually helping a lot because I started with the lightest band. Now I've moved up to the heavier band. And I think that, you know, my form is going to be awful. It was already awful, but I think that power is going to translate pretty well once I get back in the water.
Now you were doing a specific band workout, or you just kind of like, just doing like 10, 20 minutes?
Yeah. So that, you know, that it's cool because they actually, you know, because of the quarantine and everything, the Purple Flats group has released specific, you know, band workouts. So like, hey, we get it, no one's in the pool. Here's what we recommend. But it's nothing crazy. It's like, you know, let's do a ladder. So it's like 100 pulls, you know, easy. And then, you know, lay on your back and kick for 40 seconds. And then 80 pulls, you know, medium. Working up to like 20 pulls as fast as you can. So, you know, that'll take like 20 minutes. I've done other workouts where it's just like, you know, 10 pulls really slow where you're focusing on form, and then 25 like really fast, and then go, you know, do 5 rounds of that or something. So, I mean, it's nothing like rocket science. I think it's more like just to break it up. If you just said, hey, I'm gonna pull for 20 minutes, your mind would drift and you wouldn't actually be focusing on it.
You work out in your basement? I mean, in your garage there?
Yeah, so this is my garage. I got you know, we got all my strollers over there and bikes. The quick tour. Let's see. Hold on. So I got my bikes hanging up right there. So the white one's my P3, and then I'm actually borrowing my friend's road bike. He's got way too many, so he let me borrow one so I can go right outside. I got the homemade Ironman arch on the house, you know, going into the house.
Nice.
And then, and so there's me, and I just have a old computer I dropped and broke the screen, but hooked it up to a big TV. Yeah, so it's kind of a budget accommodation, but it gets the job done.
Hey, whatever works, man. Crushing it, dude.
Yeah, exactly. Hold on.
No frills, man. To me, sometimes is better. So back to the race. You go through the banner. Now you're in the rollers. You just sitting in with the second group right here, the chase group.
Yeah, so we're the second group. I think we're starting to get a little time on the first group, and you know, still not with them yet, but I think we're down to maybe 10 seconds. This actually, the hill we're on right now, before the sprint, that was a big one where everyone's pushing big power for a couple minutes up, and then yeah, just kind of sitting back in the group. Now, before I'd done the race, I'd actually done my whole workout for the day. So I had warmed up for about 2.5 hours before the race. Not really on purpose. And it was like a fasted workout. So, you know, woke up early. It was all like zone 2 work, really easy. And I finished about an hour before the race. And so then I went and fueled, made sure I was hydrated, all that stuff. My wife does Zumba, so she was practicing dancing behind me. We kind of agreed, hey, you do your dance, and then, you know, then it's my turn to do my race. You can watch the kids for a little bit. So I was fueled up, feeling good, nice and warmed up. I've never warmed up that much before, obviously, because, you know, who has 2.5 hours to warm up? But so I was feeling really good, and I hadn't like pushed it all very hard that day at all for anything. And so I think that benefited me a lot. I think that's why I saw, you know, PR powers for me. But so yeah, you know, at this point, we're about halfway through the race. That's a nice checkpoint of, okay, half done. You know, I mean, we'd only been going for like 18 minutes at this point. We were flying the whole time. And my heart rate for the entire race averaged 169, which is really high for me. So, I mean, I was in 170s most of the time. But feeling good, pushing hard. And yeah, I mean, just kind of sitting back, waiting for, okay, I know I got one more climb coming up. and then the sprint to the finish. And so as long as I don't get dropped, I can hang with those two groups. I can at least cross it with the front group. And we're also racing all the B's and C's who had a head start. So all through the race, we're passing these B's and C's. So you're feeling good. I'm like, okay. And there was a couple times I would get in the front of the second group, but there was, maybe some B's up ahead. So I could draft off of them. And so I kind of push a little bit and make the big group with me. Maybe work a little bit harder to catch up and go through it. And other guys are doing that too. So it's we're kind of pushing each other. And because we're doing that, getting up the draft off the other riders, we're catching up with that front group.
Nice. Yeah, that's a great strategy. Because I was watching you guys on Saturday, in the front group, there's maybe like 3 or 4 of those guys. They were just pretty much mowing everybody down. So what's your maximum heart rate?
So I hit my max. I've hit riding my bike. I've hit like 182, I think. But like threshold, like 170, 172. So I was definitely riding right there.
And how old are you, Alex?
I am 33.
It's so interesting to me to see some people like, you're a really strong guy. You have a low heart rate. I pretty strong. I got 12 years on you, and my threshold's about 177. And I can get up to 192, 193.
Ooh. Yeah, I've never seen 190 on me. I mean, when I'm, at the end of a race, full dead sprint, even like especially running, I've gotten up to like 188 like once. So yeah, it's just interesting how different physiology.
So back to your entry in a triathlon. So you said you were not athletic before this. You didn't play any sports or anything growing up?
No, not really. I would play a little bit basketball with my friends. I was on the track and field team. I threw shot put and discus. That was mostly because they were having, yearbook pictures, and they said, hey, anyone that's going to try out for the track and field team, come down and get your picture taken. I'm sitting in math class, and I'm like, sure, why not, So I did that a couple years ago. I wasn't a runner at all. I was a bigger guy. And that was fun. But, I didn't really watch sports, didn't play them a whole lot. But then, kind of when I found it, it was just a great outlet. It really helped every other part of my life, where it was, get the energy, get the endorphins going, and then I'm, way more productive at work because of that.
So that's interesting. I think you missed your calling, 10 years ago, man. But hey, you're 33, so you still got a lot of prime years left in you.
Yeah, I mean, well, supposedly, 35 is the peak, but we'll see what we can do. See if we can get a few more years out of that.
That's right. They say
you're killing it, so I get it.
They say you improved for 10 years from start to your 10th year. And by your 10th year, you kind of like plateaued. That's about as good as you're going to be. You'll have good races, you'll have bad races.
Well, I tell people at work that, if a big sack of money fell to the ground or out of the sky, I would, quit my job and just train all day. And I don't think I'd be a good pro, but I think it'd be fun. Well, but only if I had a stack of money.
Out of nowhere, and it's like, you've gotten so good so fast, man. It's impressive. I mean, is there any one thing that you're doing that?
So I think it's a lot of things, like lots of little things. So I'm big on kind of reading and research and learning about the sport. So I've read, at least 15, 20 books about triathlon or, that kind of stuff. So I think that's helped kind of pick up some things, or more than anything, kind of avoid mistakes. And then, listen to podcasts, things like that. I definitely, for the first few years, focused a lot on running. So kind of a big goal I had was to qualify for Boston. And so worked on, knocking my run times down. And, in a try, really, if you can run really well, the rest doesn't matter as much, So I think that helped a bunch to kind of knock down some time. I feel pretty good with my run speed now. I'm working on bike. And honestly, it's consistency and patience. I mean, there was a whole year where my FTP didn't go up at all. Like I would test it, every couple months, and it was always within a couple of watts, and that was super frustrating because I'm putting all this time in and you're not seeing results, and so then you're like questioning things like, oh man, like am I wasting my time? Am I doing it wrong? And, there's probably things I've been doing wrong, but it definitely hasn't been like a linear progression. It's like big jumps in fitness and then plateaus for a long time. So it kind of takes patience, and I definitely don't know all the answers. And I'm still experimenting. I'm still an experiment at one, but it has been really, really rewarding to see, hey, if you stick to the plan, do consistent work over a couple years, then yeah, you see results eventually.
Before Purple Patch, I know we've talked a couple times. Were you following any kind of plan or any coaching, or are you just kind of doing everything on your own?
So I've never had a coach. I think that would be awesome. Just hasn't been in the budget. So I would follow, when I first started, I'd find plans online and I would try to follow that. And then before I started with Purple Patch, I got a few of Matt Dixon's books and kind of followed through those plans. And they worked really, really well. So, I mean, it's just kind of following plans, but also adjusting them for what I kind of need to work on, or, if I don't have enough time to go do a 90-minute workout, can I trim it to 60 or 45 and just kind of sneak that in, do the best I can to get something in rather than just missing it.
Talking about time management, you have 3 small ones?
I do. I have 3 kids, but and that was gonna be my big point. Is I have a very, very supportive wife who is 100% on board, very, very helpful. Not to say she's thrilled every time I have to go train, but we make it work. We negotiate, whatever. Make sure she has time, whatever. But then I have 3 kids. They are 1-year-old, 3-year-old, and 6 years old. And kind of what I found that works well is get my big session in the morning. So I'll wake up at anywhere from 5 to 6, get at least an hour and a half, sometimes 2 hours in the morning. And then try to get a session over lunch. And then normally I don't do any night sessions. Since the quarantine, I've been sneaking some in just because, I don't have any commute. So I'll do quick 30 or 60 minutes. But then on the flip side, all right, that's a lot of training. That's anywhere from 15 to 20 hours a week. And I rest on Sundays, so no workouts on Sundays. But on the flip side, it's like, all right, I gotta make some personal sacrifices. So when I'm not training and I'm not working, it's gotta be 100% family. So, cut out the TV, cut out, video games, all that stuff. It's either training, work, church service, or family 100%. And I think by cutting out all those distractions and focusing on family, I've been able to fit a lot more training in than otherwise.
Speaking of the virus, or whatever we call the sheltering in place, what's keeping you motivated right now?
I was very lucky for some reason. I came into the season and kind of my goal was to do Ironman Maryland in September. And I kind of sketched out what races I want to do this year, but I hadn't registered for it yet. And I'm kind of like, I'll see what happens. Before the virus, I was just kind of like, play it by ear, maybe register last minute for a couple things. And then obviously, now that that's happened, I've yet to receive, I haven't registered for anything yet. I haven't received any letters to say, hey, this race is canceled or whatever. So, that was nice. But I think what's kept me motivated is my goal is really like a 2-3 year goal. So, I want to get to Kona, and if it doesn't happen in 2020, it could happen in 2021, or it could happen in 2022, or beyond, hopefully by then. And so when this, when the whole virus came up, I almost thought of it as an opportunity of, great, I don't have to worry about smaller local races or anything. I can just focus 100 in on that long-term goal. And, I'm pretty sure races are going to come back. So I think that long-term goal still on. And so, you know, if they said, hey, Ironman's going to shut down all races for the next 10 years, I'd be a lot more miffed about things. But they'll come back and they'll get me through. And I think some of these, you know, small little fun races, like, you know, Zwift races, little events that kind of pepper things, that's been good. Getting out there trying to take some Strava segments have been fun too. So.
How many Strava segments did you take last week?
I think 5 or 6. I mean, I'm in a place that, you know, the ones I took weren't very contested, I don't think. I think, you know, maybe some good riders rode through here once and they were just going and they picked them up. But it was fun because I texted a picture of the crown to my friend and he'd go look up who I took it from. And he's like, oh, dude, he just took out a pro cyclist from Augusta. I'm like, oh man, that's cool. So I don't think he was working that hard on that one. But I do want to talk about the course right here, though.
Yeah, we're back to the course. So yeah, tell me about what happened right here.
All right, so right here, this is mental preparation road right here. He's like, all right, I'm about to push everything I got, and we still got, you know, 5, 6 miles to the end. So right here, right as you hit the bridge, right here is where I'm just jumping on the pedals. I'm like, all right, let's spin out. Let's get as hard as we can. So when we hit the uphill, I'm already at 7 watts per kilo. And I'm just pushing as hard as I can right here. Like, you know, eyes shut, mouth clenched, everything I have. And because I know if I get dropped here, it's game over. And I've just sweat, you know, 25 minutes of my life away. No way I'm going to get dropped now if I can. And so it worked out, you know, pushing the power right before I went up. Worked out really well because all of a sudden I dropped about everyone that was with me. So I was riding with Brandon Kraut, and I'll give him a pass because it was his second race that day. My goal was kind of to stay with him, you know, because he's a pro, and I want to be cool like a pro. I think I caught the group a little bit off guard because I flew up this hill, and I dropped all of them. And so that second pack I was with, they fell back about 30 seconds. By the time we hit the top of this hill.
That's insane.
So all through here, you're pushing power. Shows me right now, I did this climb in 151 during that race. So, I mean, my all-time PR is like 130 something, but that's not in the middle of a race. So, so right now I'm riding with the front group. We had chased them down, we caught them. And so I'm, you know, drafting off of them. We're probably going 17 miles an hour or something. So the draft is still important. I mean, at that point, I was feeling it. I was hurting. But it's also super excited because I tracked down that front group. Here and there, I'm jumping in and out of first place at one point. So it's pretty motivating to keep pushing. So here, we're still pushing all the way to the end. And we're starting to form up as a group again. I'm getting ready for the descent to come up here. And the one power up that helped me, I got at the arch right there. And it was a drafting power up. And so my heart rate's at the roof. You know, I'm hitting 180. So I need a breather. So I hurry and use that power up as soon as I can. And so just so I can like sit back a little bit, catch my breath. And then, you know, and they were starting to pull away. With that power up, I was able to descend with them and stay with them.
That was the draft power up?
Yeah, the draft one.
So now you got 4 miles left to go right here. Strategies, hang on to the finish?
Hang on to finish. I mean, now that I'm with the front group and there's no more climbs, I'm starting to get excited because climbs are my nemesis. As long as I can get through those, I got a decent shot at it. So we're still passing B's, C's, and D's the whole time. So in the back of my mind, I'm like, I don't know how we're going to do overall. I don't know if we're going to pass them all or not. But at least in the A group, I think I got a shot at placing in the top group. Hopefully the top 3, you know. So really, all I'm thinking about now is stay with this group, don't get dropped, and then when are they going to sprint? Because that sprint at the end that's really going to define it all. And unfortunately, not to like spoiler alert it, I didn't hit the sprint like I wanted to. I went a little too early. But that's what I'm thinking the whole time of, okay, up till here, mission accomplished. I'm with the front group. So it's all going to come down to that final sprint.
At what point did you go hit the sprint?
So you're coming into downtown, and it's all downhill. You're coming in downhill, and then it kind of flattens out with about 0.2 miles to go. And so, and I'll narrate it again when we get there, but I saw one person, their power jump a little bit. I think they hit like 6 watts per kilo or something. And I thought, oh man, they're going, quarter mile left, time to go. And so I jump up and just crank it. And I actually started to, because they're still down, going downhill or flat, I started to spin out. I don't have any more gears I can go. So I'm going as full cadence as I can. And I'm only putting out, 600-700 watts, which, that's a lot. And that's really good for me. But there's no bigger gear. And so I actually took off, and then everyone else kind of drafted behind me until the last second, and they passed right at the end. So if I were to redo the race, if I were to redo the race, I would wait a little bit, and it's hard. I'd wait like maybe a second longer and let one of them, sprint first and draft off them. I think, and I also didn't have any power up or anything. So if I had the aero power up or even a drafting power up, that would have been the awesome time to use it. I'm not sure if they did or not. I'll give them the benefit and say they didn't, but that'd be the time to use it.
Maybe save that aero one for the finish line, the one that you use.
Yeah.
But then
the drafting one. Yeah.
You don't know because you come through the sprint and you get another power up,
Exactly. I think I got the invisibility or something like that, where it was kind of like, which you can try to make a breakaway, but we were pushing so hard together anyway. I'm not sure it would have done a whole lot.
Yeah, I think the worst.
Yeah, so you got these rollers here too, so it's not like a flat finish to the end. You're gonna have all these bumps, and on each one, it's give it everything up the top, and then you just kind of cruise down. So I'm up and down on the bike the whole time, jumping back and forth.
What was your average power for the race? You said 377?
373, I think, yeah.
Woo.
So yeah, so that's I think like 4.8 watts per kilo, which that's a lot. That's I haven't done that before, so that's hurting.
You plan on racing again next weekend?
Yeah, I'll do one, I think this Thursday night. I have a friend that talked me into doing a team time trial, and that's where you start with like these different teams. So you have like 8 of you guys, and you kind of take turns pulling, and then it's whoever the 4th person across the line is kind of counts for your team. And it's fun because you can, so I'm a category A, but you can ride with other categories to kind of get them all together. So I'll give that a shot this Thursday, and I don't know. We'll see what Saturday brings. It's supposed to be a recovery week for me this week, so we'll see how I'm feeling. Depends if you're going to race. You racing, Joe?
I think I'm going to race I'm going to do a race tomorrow about at 6 o'clock. I try to make Tuesday night race night, and then I might jump in on one on Sunday.
Okay.
The thing is,
nice.
Racing is fun on Zwift, but if done wrong, it will destroy you. Trust me.
How's that?
It's basically doing an FTP test every time you do one,
Oh, yeah. Well, and Zwift racing is kind of becoming its own sport, just because it's such a different type of racing. Because, there's people that race every day, and it's kind of like doing an FTP test every day, Give me a 70.3 course. That sounds a lot less painful.
Yeah. We got to go head to head, man. Again, you got to give me a shorter course I can hang with you, So
I'll tell you the Crit City races, the 8 laps around Crit City, 20-minute race. That thing's awesome.
So here's the hill right here, right? Were you surprised that everybody started going as hard as they could right through here?
Yeah. So we're down to I was with that lead group of 5, so it was 5 of us. And I knew this hill was coming. This is the last big one. But there are some rollers after this. But we stayed together pretty well. I don't remember, you know, this whole time from here to the end, we're all just kind of rotating. So sometimes I'm in front, you know, a lot of times the other people are in front. We're just kind of going back and forth. And so, you know, on all these hills, it's full gas up, and then it's kind of backing off on the way down, enjoying the draft. And then right as you hit that crest, it's back up out of the saddle, pushing it again.
Yeah, it's a different animal than riding on the road, you know? Have you ever done a road race?
I have not. I have some friends that say I would really like it. I'm nervous I would just, you know, crash every time, but you know, we'll see. Maybe down the road.
Yeah, the problem is if you jump into a Cat 5 group, I've done a couple of those. You have to be careful because, yeah, you'll have some strong riders, just have inexperienced people too, you know?
Yeah. Problem is, I think I'm one of those inexperienced ones. So I've ridden my bike a bunch, but not in giant pelotons that often.
Yeah. Well, I will say I've ridden a lot. I've done about 4 or 5 Cat 5 races in Georgia, and it's usually about 50, 60 people. And normally, I'd say the first hill you hit, bye-bye to about half of those people, you know? So then it becomes about
good.
5 people. So, all right. So we're coming to the last little bit. Heart rate all out.
You know, the count. Heart rate's at, you know, 175. It's a countdown now. So we got, you know, 0.3, 0.4 miles. And it's all just a question of who's going to go first and when are they going to go. And because I've been in races where, you know, you're a mile away and someone takes off and they carry it. There's other ones where you're 0.1 mile away, they still haven't taken off, and someone goes. So we're coming right here. So you'll see, we're on a downhill. I'm watching the top right screen with that -3. I'm like, okay, I'm with this group of 5. I'm in, you know, second or third. So I can't, and I'm just watching their power on the left. And so we're coming down here. We're at -2. We're going to hit -1. We're going to flatten off. And right about here, we're like at 0.2 miles. And then I think like right about here, I see someone's numbers just kind of jump up for a second. 6 watts per kilo, whatever. Okay, that's it. I'm going. Out of saddle. Start, you know, going as hard as I can. I'm out in the lead. So I'm leading this whole way. And, you know, I can't watch it that closely, but I'm at 10, 11 watts per kilogram. Everyone's in the orange. So I'm in the lead. And right about here, I see someone starting to come up behind me on the draft, and they pass, and I'm going hard, and then 3 other people, boom, 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 right after me. They cross the line, boom, 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 and I'm 5th. So it was all, you know, I ended up being the first one to go, and I ran out of gears to go up to push more. I mean, I was pushing all I got, and so they drafted right behind me, and I cruised across. So lesson again was time that final sprint and get ready to just give all you got. But you know, I was super happy with it. You know, and I looked later. I think I officially came in 6th on Zwift, but Zwift Power didn't have one of the folks. So
Yeah,
and, you know, he had like taken off a long time ago.
Yeah, I think that first guy got disqualified because they said he was holding like 6 watts a kilo. So.
Which, hey, if a pro wants to hold 6 watts per kilo, you know, it's either a pro or some sketchy guy, so he can win out.
Well, cool, man. I appreciate the ride today. You know, hopefully we'll see each other on the road, you know, as soon as this shelter in place is over. We have to get out and ride.
Absolutely, yeah. And, you know, until we're on the road, we'll see you on Zwift.
All right, man.